Go team playing as South Africa. Well, we start out as Cape Colony, but we will become South Africa once we become a dominion or get independence. I think the plan is going to be to become a dominion first, but that is going to be quite difficult since, the British are not very willing to do that at the moment. So we're going to need to get some liberty desire, and we're going to need to get their acceptance up. So before we do any of that, let's just start out by researching atmospheric engine and railways. Let's put some social mobility on our country because, getting literacy up is going to be good because one of the only things that matters when you're a small country is having good text for once you get big. And so researching text faster with more text spread is going to be quite nice. We could raise taxes, but that would earn us relatively little money. So I think there's not really a point. We can stick on the base 10 construction for now and build up some or build up some logging camps. I think theoretically you should delete the port and then get your liberty desire up that way, but that seems a little cringe. So we're going to try to do this the more normal way. To get our liberty desire up, I'm going to declare some interest in Russia and France. We're going to hope to get people to be protective towards us because the more protective roles we get and the more antagonism towards Britain, the easier it's going to be to get support independences, which are going to be quite important to the start of this run. Of course, we don't need that many support independences, but the more, the better. Russia, I think, is almost always flipping protective in my experience, but France and stuff are a little bit less certain. It looks like they're just staying disinterested, which is a little bit weird. I guess, okay, we get cooperative, which isn't protective. Yeah, that's going to make things a little bit tougher, but it looks like we still can get a very good chance if we owe them an obligation and a power block embassy. Yeah, we get an 82% chance. So we'll do that, and that's our first support independence, which is quite good. 0.1 liberty desire. Now, I'm also going to demand knowledge sharing and support regime just to get our liberty desire up a bunch. I believe, yeah, our relations are now poor. We don't want to do another one because then our relations will go below -50, which might reduce them out of being protective, which we definitely don't want to do if possible. So 2 is going to be good enough to get our liberty desire fairly high. From 19 to 39 means we don't have to reduce it nearly as much. And we do need to look for more support independences. Yeah, let's move some of our interests to like Gran Colombia or whatever. This has, I think that some people over here hate Britain. Like I think New Granada, oh no, it's Central America and Brazil that hate them. But those should both have an interest in New Granada, I think. Yeah, we can do Central America here as well as Brazil. That'll be a nice little extra bit to our liberty desire. Oh, Brazil declined. Let's give them an obligation. Also, let's do this for 25 years. Okay, that's pretty nice. That means our liberty desire is going up by 0.17, but really 0.07 once we improve relations, which we need to do because Britain is not going to accept increasing our autonomy if we have such poor relations. Also, I'm going to put down some more decrees in the capital. And let's bring in the armed forces because I want to start trying to pass colonial. Do we want to go colonial resettlement or exploitation? I just realized we do need to actually incorporate the rest of our country. But do we want to go colonial exploitation or colonial resettlement? Or we could even go frontier colonization. That is an option given that we don't actually. My plan is to like play a little tall here, so we don't need to colonize the world or whatever, and we do have a decent amount of surface area with Africa here, so we wouldn't get that much benefit out of getting able to colonize anywhere, so maybe just go frontier colonization so that the rural folk don't hate us. I think that's not a terrible option. It's the law in colonization that you go for the least options, so I guess we'll give it a try this game. We can bring the rural folk into government to increase the success chance on this a little bit, because I did get a setback, unfortunately. I'm tech spreading atmospheric engine, so I'm going to go into mechanical tools first instead. I'm going to get support independence from Hanover as well. Oh, they declined? Okay, I guess we'll have to give them an obligation. 25-year, obligation. Very nice. An extra 0.03 to our liberty desire. It's going up real slow, but it will eventually be high enough for us to try to increase our autonomy. I'm going to lower taxes so that we can hopefully get this law through because we weren't having enough legitimacy. We've passed frontier colonization. Now we can start colonizing into Northern Cape. And I guess once this is done, we can go into Zululand, but that one is less ideal since it does have malaria. How dare no one move to Cape Colony? This is illegal. We really need better laws. Oh, we have migration controls. That would explain why no one is moving to Cape Colony. We have to like get multiculturalism or get out of this in order to start getting migrants. That would make some sense. Although we do have English primary culture, so we should at least be able to get English migrants. The British are lacking supply network strength. This is very nice for us. Means we get a little bit of extra liberty desire, which we are sort of in need of. Currently, the British are -80 towards accepting our increased autonomy. Well, really, like a little bit less than that, because we can get an easy 29 from changing our government, because this caps out at +25. Well, we just hit 50 relations. I'm thinking we're going to have to request one of these things. It is going to give us -20 relations, but it will also give 10 liberty desire. I guess we'll wait till we hit 75 just so we can see like how much we can get, but I don't think we're close enough. Or yeah, we can actually almost get them to accept some of these things. Or we can get them to accept some of these things, just not all. Let's swap governments over to something they like. Let's do like medium taxes again. And then I guess PB is going to be our best bet, although it is a sovereignist, which isn't great. Oh, that's really bad. Can we actually not get any ideological similarities? Why are industrialists not demarginalized? No! I should probably privatize some buildings. I need to build a construction sector for that, though. I don't really want to do that. That's so sad. No! So yeah, now that we're at 75, we're -48. With an obligation, we're -25. So we need like 50 more acceptance because, you know, you get some from, or we need at least +30 to have a 100% chance. We don't need a 100%, but we need a really good chance probably. So I guess I'm going to try to take the 10 from requesting market control. This will give 20 extra acceptance here. And then we also need to hope that we can get some sort of government similar to them. I guess we'll build the construction sector. I don't think we really have any other option. Oh, we lost to support independence. Bluefield. Oh, El Salvador isn't allowed to support our independence anymore. Dang. I'm going to go back to improving relations with the UK now. And yeah, we're at -43, -21 with obligation. Okay, now we see Austria as antagonistic. So once this war is over, we might want to try to get Austria as a country to support our independence. That would be nice. That would be another boost to our weekly liberty desire, which would help out quite a lot. Oh, I didn't have an attacking general. I was wondering why this war was taking so long. Wait, we have a grain consumption tax? I did not realize that somehow. Okay, that's a bit of a waste of authority. Let's try to put on another greener grass campaign, I guess. I guess there really isn't that much we can use our authority on, because it seems like the greener grass campaigns aren't really helping with other migration. Probably mostly because we are on migration controls, but getting off of that is not really practical. I am going to pause construction and delete half of the military because I do want to not go into debt as a minor power. Debt is quite expensive. Like our interest rate is 13%, which I guess is relatively low for a minor power, but it's still quite high. And we're trying to get our autonomy increased, but it is quite tough. I guess we can ask another thing from the British. That'll give us 20 more acceptance. Yeah, let's ask for support regime. Okay, that brings us up to 97 liberty desire, which is basically perfect. Now we actually have a chance if we ask the British, but the odds are not in our favor right now. So I'm going to wait till we hit 50 relations with the British, because that way we'll have another 15 extra, which is going to be a very good chance. Plus, maybe more if we can get the industrialists demarginalized, actually. That could be enough on its own if we can get that in just a second here, because it does look like their clout is going up quite a lot now that we built up that construction sector. I don't know if building up the construction sector was a good idea, because it does mean we lose government control of construction as much, because we have to kind of pause construction quite a bit. But it also does have the nice benefit of demarginalizing the industrialists, and we just have more total construction. We could even build quite a few more construction sectors. Oh, Austria barely wants to support my independence. Yeah, we only get a 25% shot at it. Oh, they do accept, though. Can we get Russia again? No, we can't, apparently. Okay, that's unfortunate. But at least that's something so that our liberty dollar stops going down. Yeah, are the industrialists demarginalized yet? Not quite. They were at 4.9, back at 4.8 now. Oh, we're receiving some migrants from ourselves. No, that's not who we should be receiving migrants from. Okay, we got railways researched. I'm gonna go egalitarianism next because prop tax is gonna be super nice. Then we can get some companies and steel frame buildings. Okay, the industrialists have gotten demarginalized now, so we can put them in government. Oh, yes, we get it. Oh, we can actually get this without an obligation if we wait till 50 relations, for real. Or no, it's not gonna be guaranteed, so I guess we'll just give them the obligation here. And that's gonna be nice. We're now a dominion. The Dominion of South Africa instead of the colony of Cape Colony. This means we can now actually invade Reichstadt and stuff. It says that they'll join, but obviously they can't because we're a subject of them. That did somewhat unfortunately form a pro-British lobby, which is going to make keeping our liberty to desire high enough to where they can't reduce our autonomy a little bit tougher than I would like. But, I mean, it's not the worst thing. We just need to make sure we don't have the petite bourgeoisie or armed forces in our government unless we really need them. Now I'm going to go conquer Reichstadt because, of course, this area over here does have lots of resources, and I want to expand in our region a little bit instead of just conquering around the world. Oh, there's 15 gold fields in Reichstadt. I knew that there was that many that can spawn, but I didn't expect them to already be here this early. Usually takes a little bit longer for them to spawn, but that's going to be really nice to get 7,500 free minting. Wow. Even more if we can actually employ it, which maybe we can with the Greener Grass campaign. North Orania is almost over. Yeah, that's super nice to have 15 gold fields in the government's hands. Unfortunately, Transvaal hasn't spawned their gold yet, but any second now they could spawn that gold. Well, we could spawn that gold, really. So let's start incorporating Reichstadt. Since we're Boer primary culture, it'll incorporate real quick. It is so crazy that Eastern Cape and Zulu incorporate in 20 years, but Northern Cape and all this incorporates in 2 years. You know, I feel like that transition doesn't really make any sense. They should probably have some sort of thing where things in your capital strategic region, like, shouldn't take more than 5 years to incorporate or something. Transvaal. Oh, we can't incorporate that or else we'll be running like negative 100% bureaucracy. Let's start building up some government administrations to hopefully solve that. Okay, with the government administrations built, we can incorporate Transvaal and I guess build up more construction sectors because we're still running a positive balance. We can probably afford like 2 more construction sectors because we're running positive reinvestment and balance. Well, now they're building them only positive reinvestment, but it's by a much larger margin. We're receiving immigrants from the Midlands and Yorkshire and stuff and sending them to Reichstadt. A little bit of weird to just do that instead of just sending them straight to Reichstadt, but I guess it's fine. We don't want to give Austria investments in us. What might be good is getting investments in like everyone. I don't know if I want to do a foreign investment run this game. I mean, it's so overpowered, but kind of want to show just how overpowered it is. Reichstadt has one of the highest SOL states in the game just because there's so much gold there. Apparently Chukotka and Yukon territory are the only ones higher. I assume they also have almost everyone employed in gold mines. Looks like it. Yukon territory up here. Oh yeah, that also has a bunch of gold. I didn't realize Canada had so much gold. I wonder if that's their only gold. I don't know. They actually have 12 in Yukon territory and 8 in Northern Colombia. That's actually pretty high. Obviously, it's not as high as South Africa's 36 gold mines, though. What actually is higher, though, is Australia and New Zealand. I'm surprised Australia and New Zealand has more gold than South Africa. Oh, I'm out of infamy. I guess we should go for the conquest of Zulu. Well, the thing is that will slow down our colonization of Basuto, but it's probably not that important. We'll just go for little conquest of Zululand, because this is going to be 20-year incorporation, so we got to get that incorporation going soon. Also, we might want to do some conscripts for this war, just because these guys do have a somewhat comparable army, so I guess I'll conscript up 2 mobile artillery battalions. But we do have line infantry compared to their irregulars, so even though it's an equal advantage, I think we'll do better than that would suggest. Well, that Zulu war wasn't even hard. I wasn't even looking at it. It's just kind of over. I guess we just kind of won the battles. Now our army's a little bit bigger. I want to go for Gaza, but unfortunately they are just improving relations with us, which makes it impossible to damage relations with them. So I guess we'll expel their diplomats. They recently changed it, so this only costs 2.5 infamy for unrecognized powers that are like the unrecognized power tier, not the entirety of unrecognized powers. If you wanted to like expel diplomats on China or something, that would be 7.5 infamy, but for the lowest tier, it's not that expensive anymore, so we can just expel diplomats and then conquer Lorenzo Marx, and that is going to be pretty nice. And then from there, we're probably going to need British help to conquer Portuguese Mozambique, which I don't know if we're going to go further north than that into like Zanzibar in the short term. Kind of want to play a little bit tall here, and you know, expanding that far is a little bit weird, but I guess it is within like a bordering strategic region of our home. Maybe that will be like our goal borders. Yeah, I think those goal borders of conquering Congo, Zanj, and Southern Africa, as well as getting somewhere in the billions of GDP, sounds pretty good. Okay, now we're done with Gaza as well. Oh, we're in a giant bureaucracy deficit again. We definitely need to go solve that real quick. Let's build up more government administrations over here in Cape Colony. Oh, we got egalitarianism. We definitely want to start going prop tax, because that's going to be a huge boost to our income. We're basically making nothing on land-based anymore. Well, that's actually because we're running a huge bureaucracy deficit, I guess, but prop tax is still going to be a giant boost in our income. What IGs would support this? PB and intelligentsia are the biggest ones. Okay, we can get the PB in government. We can't get the intelligentsia in at the same time. Maybe if we take out the landowners? No. Okay, so I guess we'll just do PB. Or no, we're doing this with the movement actually, so we can just put everyone in government actually, and that should be fine. Yeah, that gives us a 41% success. The economy has spiked again. I'm wondering if we got some more gold mines in like Transvaal or something. Let's take a look. No, did we actually do this without gold mines? We just happened to get a spike? Or I guess conquering Lorenzo Marx is part of it, but I guess it's a million GDP. Yeah, nice spike. Prop tax is going to be really nice. Yeah, that's going to make our income way larger, all the way up to 8K income. On medium taxes, we can go very high and get even more. That is still less than we're making from gold minting, I guess. Or no, actually, it's around the same as we're making from gold minting. I guess with the technology bonus, it's still less, but if we were to go up to like very high, it would be less, it would be more than the gold, which is kind of nice. Oh, I just realized the reason we're at 72% market access is the British are lacking convoys. How dare the British do this to me? The British should consider building some convoys, because that's not exactly ideal for us. This is one reason why we should probably try to go for independence at some point. Oh, this is on picks and shovels. We should definitely upgrade these PMs since we conquered territory that actually has mines. I'm gonna request knowledge sharing from the British. We're kind of losing liberties there either way, which I guess that's not really a reason to do this, but we do get some more tech spread here, which is gonna be pretty nice because I do want to get tech spread going. You know, we're kind of behind on tech. We're not that behind on tech, I guess, for 1849, but we could be further ahead. So we get the Atmo engine event, which gives us some tech progress on water tube. We probably want to do that before steel frame buildings. Oh yeah, we passed prop tax. We should go to a more legitimate government again so that we stop gaining radicals from being low legitimacy. Oh, actually, before we go steel frame buildings, we should go human rights because we have a sovereignist and stuff, so it shouldn't be that hard to pass multiculturalism along with a 7% minority rights movement, 7% Sotho movement, 4% Zulu. South Africa is so easy to pass multiculturalism. You should probably rework this because I don't think that's very historical. You know, around this time period, South Africa wasn't exactly a multicultural society, I'd say. I'm going to move my interests back to Zaire Congo because I'm thinking we conquer Portuguese Mozambique soon. The Portuguese are so weak they cannot be allowed to have a presence in Africa. I assume they're weaker than us at this point, at least. Yeah, they have lower GDP than us. Okay, I'm going to declare the war for Portuguese Lorenzo Marx. Then I'm also going to conquer. I guess we could go for Angola at the same time. Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad, I guess. It depends on how many maneuvers we have. Yeah, we got plenty of maneuvers. Let's just conquer Angola at the same time. Oh, the question is how do we call the UK in? We need to change government to something they like a bit more. They are industrialists, so we gotta change to the industrialists, I guess. And then, yeah, now the British. Oh, but we can't owe them an obligation or anything. So we can't actually get the British into the war, meaning that we are actually going to have to win this alone, which might be a little tricky. I guess we won't primary anything, so they might back down, because I don't know that we can actually win this necessarily, or we're going to have to build up a fleet, which is going to be a little annoying, but I guess we will just get started on building up a fleet. Yeah, I guess we'll primary at least Zambezia, because if we get Zambezia, from there we can at least like colonize into Mozambique or whatever, so it's not too bad. Okay, yeah, we're winning these battles pretty easily. Our first real war against the Portuguese. The Portuguese are a bit weaker than the South Africans, luckily for us. We should probably get like another general so we can push this front a little bit faster. Oh, it actually started a battle while we were in a battle? That doesn't go very well. Yeah, that actually goes terribly. So maybe let's only keep one general in attack for now, because that's not going very well. I'm going to try to conscript up a little bit, because the battles are not going amazingly right now, even though we have a pretty good advantage. I'm just going to wait for morale to recover and stuff. Okay, we can actually establish a company here, which would be pretty good. Forestries or generic metalworks? I think maybe we go generic metalworks with iron company or something, because we do have a lot of iron in like Transvaal and a decent amount in Vriestaat. So that could be decent. Actually going like De Beers could make a lot of sense here. We don't quite have enough gold yet, but that would be a little bit of an on-theme company. I guess if we're going De Beers at some point, that means that we're going to not have a company for, where we're going to have a company for iron, which means you can do this and then go steel, I guess. Yeah, I guess we can do that. Okay, that makes some sense. I guess I'm gonna try another battle. We need to try to kick the Portuguese out here. Okay, battle's going pretty well. Oh, now the front is like incredibly in our favor. Okay, maybe we can try 2 generals on attack. Or maybe not, I don't know. Okay, yeah, this battle's going really well. Only problem is if we do a second battle, maybe things won't go so well. Okay, well that battle actually finishes before the battle starts, seemingly. We've now taken over Lourenço Marques. Very good. Okay, I occupied all of Mozambique. Now we can go for Angola. Uh-oh, the Portuguese are landing us. Actually, I think maybe we can just push into here and then peace out. I don't know, like, because that, I don't know that we can defend that landing in time. So I guess just pushing into here might be our best bet. And then we can try to defend once they're already in. Or we can just peace out maybe here. Let's take a look. Like, can we peace out for everything? Not quite. But maybe we can even after they've taken the capital, because they're just going to keep lowering war support, and they're going to need to occupy, like, almost everything from us in order to get me to sign a peace deal, or get me to capitulate before them at this point. Yeah, they're going to need to occupy a lot. Okay. I think we win this. Yep, proposed peace deal. And we win the capitulation race, because we're only losing 4 a week, they're losing 8, and they're on half war support. And so South Africa expands yet again. Oh, but some of these are colonies, unfortunately. We're going to need to get quinine. Yeah, we should get quinine, I guess. Okay, that's going to mean we have to delay human rights and stuff a bit more, but it's worth it. We gotta do some colonies. Apparently it canceled my colony in Northern Cape for some reason. I don't know why that happened, but I guess that's good because it means we get 1 free colony. Did we get 1 free colony province? I don't know if we did. Well, I'm gonna go for investment rights in the British. We're gonna see just how ridiculous we can get with this. I'm pretty confident that this is gonna be pretty overpowered, although we do have a GDP quite a bit above 0, so we will not have a quite 3x investment multi. I think this is still gonna be pretty crazy. We'll send the proposal. They have a 62% chance of accepting. Okay, they decline. Well, we can re-ask them in a year, I think. We could give them a non-colonization agreement in Zanj in exchange for accepting. I don't think we want to do that, though, because that would limit our colonization options quite significantly when we get quinine, and I do want to have this treaty going for a really long time, so that's probably not going to be worth it long term, I think. We are currently running a pretty big negative balance, but there isn't exactly a ton I can do about that. I guess I can run some consumption taxes and go up a tax level. I just do want to continue constructing the gold mines, because obviously gold is very worth construction. You know, we get all this minting income, which is super nice. I think the interest isn't bad enough to warrant not building the gold mines, although if they're not going to employ up, then it is. Oh, I just realized we can swap our government and get like an easy 20 extra acceptance. Oh, that would be a pretty good thing to do. Yeah, let's do that real quick. That should make this quite a lot easier to get this treaty going. Yeah, now if we just owe them an obligation, we can get the treaty for like, yeah, guaranteed. And we could even potentially not have to do one of these company monopolies, or we could maybe do a less bad monopoly. Can we do trade centers and... Wait, you can do... Okay, well that's definitely not supposed to work. I'm not going to abuse that bug, but that's an interesting bug. That's very interesting. So yeah, I'm going to change this to fish, and I guess we need to change the other one to something. We need a pretty good item. I guess maybe maybe this is just our best spread. Now we get a 100% chance of acceptance. I'm going to bind this treaty for 25 years. No, they definitely don't want to take on our debt. Okay, we'll offer the treaty. And yeah, now we have investment rights in the British Empire, which is going to be very nice. I'm going to give our company the investment rights principle, I think. Think that's worth it. We're going to need to get a little bit less, we're going to need to waste a little bit less authority here in order to do that. I guess I'll take off road maintenance from Transvaal, and then we can do investment rights on our company. Yeah, actually, since we're going for a little bit more of a foreign investment strat, I'm going to swap back from human rights to steel frame buildings, because the foreign investment strats, we don't actually want to have pops migrate to us, because that would increase our GDP, hurting our reinvestment multiplier. I kind of wish we could have a opium company, but unfortunately we don't like have any opium states to build an opium company with. Oh, wait, we could do South African plantations, and then give them an opium monopoly, and like privatize all these opium mines that are currently owned by the local workforce. That could be super profitable potentially, I think. I think we might want to try to go for that as our next company. That could be really fun, or really interesting to try out. We are tech spreading joint stock, so I think I'm going to go steel frame buildings just now. But I do think that going for that South African plantations is going to be really good. I guess we need to decide what state to build the tea in. And we have a state with peasants that has tea plantations? Yeah, okay, here. I'll build up 2 more tea plantations so we can get the South African plantations going. Also, I'm going to go back to a church government, and I'm going to start passing public health insurance because that's always a nice law to try to get through. I'm going to try to get some government-owned opium plantations over here in Bihar because it does look like this could give us pretty good reinvestment even as government-owned. I mean, government-owned gives way more reinvestment when you're low GDP, but yeah, it's like even with the cost of the government of building them, I think it's going to be pretty good to do that. And then pretty soon here, we'll be able to get that opium plantations company, give it an opium monopoly, and then that will hopefully own like all of the Raj's stuff. We will never be able to get pure opium though, because that would require us own the opium plantations, right? Because you have to be a top 3 opium producer, and we're never going to be a top 3 opium producer. I love getting free reinvestment from regional company headquarters and stuff. It's so balanced. You know, we barely have to do anything for these regional HQs. They just build up buildings with the British investment pool, and we get infinite investment pool in exchange, which we're going to be able to use later on to make South Africa very good. Oh, we're running such a positive balance. We need more construction. We need a lot more construction. Oh, we get public health insurance through, so as soon as those construction sectors are done, I guess I'll go for some more government administrations, because I do want to level up colonial affairs and health system, because I think we're just barely on the fringe of being able to get more than the base 0.5 colonial growth, because our incorporated pop is 4.48 million. You should require 5 million incorporated pop to get it on level 1 past zero point 0.5, but we are actually in the British Empire with the colonial offices institution, so it's a little bit less than that. The reason we don't have it yet is because it's actually partially incorporated states, which aren't actually counted at all for that, of course. We've like doubled our reinvestment in a couple of years from getting investment rights in the British. That's how strong this is. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna pick up the plantations company. We'll see just how good this is. We need to get a monopoly on opium. I guess I will. Yeah, Eastern Cape actually has like barely any pop, so we should stop social mobility in Eastern Cape and then give this a monopoly on opium plantations. And we'll see how quickly this can grow. We might want to give this investment rights in India, although we kind of want to own them in our own country so we can get the prop taxes from them as well. I don't know. Being able to use British Indian construction might be good. I don't know how much construction they have. Can we click on a state where they're constructing something, please? As far as I can tell, they're not constructing anything anywhere, so I guess we don't get to know how much construction they have. Every week we get like 2 more opium plantations in India. This is pretty balanced. Yep, every week we get 2 more opium plantations in Bihar, and that just means our reinvestment is going through the roof. I guess we didn't really need this much construction because a lot of our private queue is just going to buying up buildings, which is a quite a bit more efficient way of doing it. So far, the plantations company has already passed the tooling company in terms of profits, which, yeah, just goes to show that this was a pretty good idea, I think. And it still has so many more plantations to buy. Like in Bihar, it can buy, what, like quadruple what it has right now. And I don't think it's even bought anything in West Bengal yet, although the profits here are relatively low just because a ton of it is going to wages. I guess it has bought some here, but not that many. We could get a lot more. And as we get more, the throughput will go up, which will make the wages not as bad. I guess I'm going to start spending government money on universities because I don't really want to increase our GDP that much. Yep, we got the pure opium thing, but we're never going to be able to complete this because we're never going to become a top 3 pure opium producer, unfortunately. Or a top 3 opium producer. Okay, I'm going to pause construction because negative balance is a little bit bad here. Just let the private queue continue constructing. You know, we're already up to 140k reinvestment. The regional company headquarters are actually doing a lot. How are they doing so good? I feel like we shouldn't be getting that much from regional company headquarters. Are regional company headquarters still broken? Okay, I actually think the reason that regional company headquarters is high is just because the British actually have laissez-faire plus very happy industrialists, and so that's giving them 45% investment pool contribution efficiency. That's my best explanation, because how else would this 27.9k be contributing more reinvestment than the 50k, but not by like the 2.46 multiplier here? I don't know. I think that's probably the explanation, although that doesn't feel like quite enough of an explanation. I feel like it should be like, they should be like equal given that, not that one should be significantly higher, right? So maybe giving investment rights to our company in India would be a terrible idea because they have extraction economy. There's no way that's how that works, right? I just realized we do have a graph of how profitable the company is. For some reason, the graph always shows the wrong highest productivity ever, because that's not 125,000. I don't know why it claims that. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm not going laissez-faire, that's because we really need the monopolies. The monopolies make this like 5 times cheaper to privatize the buildings, I'm pretty sure. So it's like a way better to do it this way instead of going laissez-faire if you are trying to play tall, because the monopolies work in other people. I feel like that's a bug. I don't know for sure though. The company's up to 73,000 in profit now. It just keeps going up. Very nice. With Colonial Affairs 3 and stuff, we're finally starting to colonize faster than the base 0.5. Yeah, now we're quite a bit above it at this point. 0.87 split between 2 colonies, so we're really at like 1.7, I guess. Unfortunately, there's quite a few pops in these states, so we are still colonizing pretty slowly. Opium Company is up to 120,000 profits at this point, and I think we might have a little bit too much reinvestment. We might need to actually expand construction finally, because it does look like our investment pool is just trending up at this point. I will give it a little bit more time just to make sure, but if it gets to like 5 million or something, I guess we will start building more construction, or I guess really we will just swap over to steel frame pretty soon here, and that will probably be good enough. Okay, we've gotten steel frame buildings. We can make the swap up to steel frame now. That gives us quite a bit more construction. Will the private queue actually use it though? I don't know. Seems like our balance keeps going up. Oh, is something broken here? No, it's not broken. I thought we might have had a frozen private queue, but it looks like it's not frozen. But it does seem to be going slower than it should. I don't know why. Oh, it's building a bunch of things there, but it's... I don't know what's going on here. It seems to not be building as much as it should be. After reloading the game, it looks like now it's actually using all of our 340 construction points, which I assume is probably still less than the British have. Yeah, by quite a lot, but you know, we're starting to catch up, sorta. I wonder if it's the monopoly is giving us issues, because it shouldn't be trying to build a trade center. That's definitely wrong. Are the monopolies giving us issues somehow? This is very strange. I guess I'm gonna try to take out the trade center monopoly and re-ask the British for this treaty, because it does seem like we're doing this when we shouldn't be trading trade centers. Okay, that's not great that they decline that. Yeah, it seems like sometimes our companies just get stuck building the wrong things, but okay, looks like... Oh, it's got this weird thing where it's sometimes queuing as a company headquarters in the home counties, which it definitely shouldn't be doing. Okay, I'm gonna try to get an agreement with the British again, where we don't give them a company monopoly on trade centers. It seems to happen with all of them, but trade centers seems to be the most common. Okay, we got that treaty. Hopefully now we'll get less of this freezing due to acting like a British company. We do have more investment pool than construction, so I guess we can expand construction a little bit. Yeah, after expanding to like 500 construction, we're now actually draining the investment pool. Very nice. Unfortunately, our opium company seems to have roughly hit its profit cap. Yeah, it can't really go above 100K or so, seemingly, because I think we've probably privatized pretty much every opium plantation at this point. Yeah, not quite every single one, but most of them are privatized by our company at this point. So I guess it doesn't really expand in profits too much. That's the advantage of the other companies. They are a little bit better at expanding because they expand as the country's economies expand. Well, we got human rights. I don't know if we want to go multiculturalism yet, just because that would mean we'd probably hit 50 million GDP pretty quickly if we did that. Whereas we could just stay a little bit small for now to try to utilize investment. In fact, we could actually try to intentionally sabotage our GDP. I haven't been upgrading PMs, but I could actually intentionally downgrade PMs to make our GDP go down. Like, how much would our GDP go down if I went picks and shovels on iron and stuff? That's probably worth it, right? Actually, that barely increased our reinvestment, so maybe not. But eventually doing stuff like that might be worth it for the reinvestment. Oh wow, our liberty desire is getting really low from the British. We should probably start requesting stuff that they won't accept to try to get our liberty desire up. How can we even do that if this isn't a good enough government to make them dislike us? That's a bit of a problem. Uh-oh. We need to get support independences or something. We can get one from France here, I guess. I don't really want to owe them an obligation. Do we kind of have to? Or I guess we can just pay them. We have enough money. Yeah, we can just give them like 4K to support our independence. Oh, they actually declined that. Okay, I guess we'll have to give them like 5,500 or something. Yeah, that's gonna be enough. Okay, good enough. We get our support independence, which should keep our liberty desire up a little bit. It's actually barely enough, and the British are currently notorious, so that's not good. Okay, I guess we can try to go for... Can we go for investment rights in Austria, maybe? In exchange for some monies? Like 6,000? Or maybe let's start out with a bit less, because we can get like the 10... If you get 10 acceptance, you have a 50% chance of acceptance. Let's go for that. Okay, they decline, unfortunately, so I guess we'll have to up this to like 4,500. Oh, wait, what? This time it's like guaranteed? What changed? I'm so confused. I guess now they want to support our independence more. Okay. Yeah, we get that treaty. That'll help keep our liberty desire up. Now their infamy's a bit lower, so that's a little tough. Guess we can get Russia as well, maybe. Support independence, power block embassy, investment rights, no obligation, 25 years. Let's go for that. Yeah, okay, that should mean our liberty desire is starting to go up again. I think maybe it's time to start going multiculturalism. Yeah, I'm gonna go multiculturalism now so that we can start going more domestic whenever we feel like it. Oh, we can go even more construction. Once we get like to 50 million GDP, our construction is kind of gonna have to crash because our reinvestment is gonna get cut in like half, unfortunately. It's not ideal, but yeah, that's the perils of doing a foreign investment strategy, I guess. We could just stay a low GDP, of course, but I think I want to try to go high GDP eventually this game. The British are negative acceptance on our treaty. I really hope that they don't cancel it when the binding period's over, because I accidentally, when I renegotiated, I didn't reset the binding period to 25 years. The fact it auto changes it to 5 is quite annoying. Yeah, if they cancel, that's going to be pretty annoying and bad for us. We'll have to try to get investment rights in like everyone else, or we'll just have to commit to building up our own country. We own over half of the GDP in Bihar. Kind of fun to look at the GDP map mode, especially since they made regional HQs actually count for this now, which is pretty nice. My private queue is spanning like 15 tooling workshops in Jamaica with a state that probably has nowhere near enough people to employ these. Why is it building 11 productivity things in Jamaica? I guess the state does have enough people to theoretically employ it, but it's like not productive enough, right? Or it is the most productive building, but apparently its wage is only 2.5, so it's just not employing regardless. Dang. Our investment pool is actually draining now. Although our reinvestment has gone down quite a bit, I guess. Yeah, it was a bit higher than this. I don't know what's gone with our reinvestment to make it go down a bit. Let's take a look at, I guess our company profits aren't quite as high as they were just a little bit ago. I'm gonna start going for Colonial Affairs 4, and I guess we should level up the law enforcement because we were having, we're not actually having turmoil issues right now, so let's actually not do that. But getting level 4 Colonial Affairs, I mean, I can colonize a third state at once without running too many penalties, I'm thinking. I'll probably go for Zululand first, just so we can finish this off. I shall start Zululand now, I guess. In just a couple of years, it looks like there's probably 3 provinces here, so in like 2 years we'll have Zululand finished, and then we can start doing like Lindy or something. Oh, we get the Krakatoa eruption 1.9.8, which just came out like yesterday, has this as a thing. Instead of having the old Krakatoa where you get like a million devastation and minus 30% agriculture, we get this like minus temperature change. Oh, we got one of the least bad. It can be up to negative 1.5 degrees Celsius. This makes certain weather things more likely. I guess we'll fund the Dutch East Indies. It doesn't actually give them the money, but you know, we can claim to fund the Dutch East Indies. Get some devastation. I think it's barely anything in our region. Yeah, just a little bit in Zanj, I guess. Yeah. Oh, and Mozambique had it a lot, apparently. And then it gets event. This event used to give it to your entire country, but now it seems to only give it to one state. I know it might seem like it's going to give it all the states and just showing one, but I'm pretty sure that it's only going to give it to this one state. So we can look here. We do have volcanic winter crop failures, and yeah, it's nowhere else. I assume this is a bug. I don't know. Oh, multiculturalism gives us a new flag. I did not know that multiculturalism was going to give us a new flag. I do believe that this is the modern day flag of South Africa now. Alright, pretty cool. Yeah, now that we've gone multiculturalist, we're getting some nice big mass migrations, especially in the Northern Cape. Of course, we're going to get more pretty soon, probably. Mass migration attraction is currently 63, which is pretty good with you having multiculturalism. I should probably take off all of our other decrees and just use all the authority to get more social mobility decree, or more greener grass campaigns, I mean. Yeah, maybe even remove consumption tax on services and opium and replace this with the more greener grass campaigns. Actually, is that every incorporated state we have now? Oh no, Lorenzo Marx is incorporated now. Natal is incorporated. I assume, yeah, these aren't incorporating. So South Angola is almost incorporated. Okay, we get in mass migration into Transvaal. Very nice. Looks like even though our treaty is no longer binding, the British aren't canceling it, so that's good. Since we passed multiculturalism, our GDP has been on the up. We're at almost 30 million. This is hurting our reinvestment multi, but we are actually staying pretty stable at around 400,000 reinvestment, which is pretty solid for sure. I guess we should start building up some more resources and stuff at this point, because, yeah, I don't think foreign investment is going to be the play for too much longer here. Just gotta start building up our own country now that we're getting all the immigrants in the world from passing multiculturalism. Very nice. Yeah, 500,000 a year into Lorenzo Marx, 400,000 into Transvaal, 250K. Not amazing yet. We do need to open India's borders before we'll get crazy immigration, but that is going to always take a little bit. Because, you can't law commitment them unless you get... I guess you can law commitment them here, but you need 300 acceptance. Yeah, they're not interested in article because I assume we're equal power rank is why? Yeah, it's got to be because we're equal power rank or something, I assume. And so we're basically going to need to get our independence before we can ask the Indians for anything. Oh, Zambezia and Zululand are done, so we can start colonizing into both of these provinces. That'll be pretty nice. Oh, we're actually above the 2 at this point, so pretty soon we can start trying to colonize in some of these severe malaria areas. And we are actually going to be getting malaria prevention around that time too, I guess. I guess I'm going to start upgrading my PMs. It's going to kill our reinvestment, but we got to start building up a domestic economy at this point. Oh, wait, all these PMs are good, but yeah, here we have got a bunch of PMs that we can swap up, which will increase our GDP, which is not great for our reinvestment, but it is going to be good for our long-term economy. Oh, especially Bessemer process is going to be pretty important. Oh, nice. We get our first big mass migration. French people, or is this actually not our biggest mass migration? It's only 25% per year into Transvaal. Okay, maybe this isn't actually bigger. I would think French would be a pretty big mass migration, but maybe their situation in France isn't quite as bad as some of the other pops, so they don't feel the need to move as much. I don't know. Feels like it's not giving us as many people as I might have expected for a French mass migration. Just gonna keep building up Transvaal though, because Transvaal is probably gonna be long-term our best state. Unless, is Cape Colony a natural harbor? No, it's not. So it's probably gonna be Transvaal, or I guess Orania right now is our best GDP state, but I think Transvaal will be good long-term because it has 60 iron mines, 104 coal mines, which means it's going to be a very good mappy state for steel and then motors and then automobiles and stuff, although it doesn't have rubber. So I guess some of the more northern states could be better for that. It'd be really nice if we had the Colonial Administration modifier, the thing with plus 100% contiguous incorporation speed, because that would mean that we could actually incorporate some of these states over here in a more reasonable time period, because it's going to take us to like the 1900s for us to be able to incorporate Zimbabwe and stuff. In fact, it's going to be a long time, really, because we're only going to start colonizing it in like 1880. The GDP graph post like multiculturalism and us building up our own country is kind of crazy. I'm going to bring the industrialists in government. I do kind of want to pass something they like, seeing at that 20% capitalist investment pool contribution efficiency. I don't really want to pass that left because we'd lose monopolies. I guess we could go compulsory primary school. That doesn't seem too bad. Yeah, that'll make like almost everyone happy. So that's probably good. We lose out on some mortality. We do lose out on dependence income, but I don't think that's too important. We have a utilitarian in charge of the industrialists. Maybe we should go actually feminism next and then just go women's suffrage like almost immediately, because that's going to be important for getting a high GDP per capita in the late game. Oh, we do actually need to get off of autocracy first. Yeah, we should definitely try to use this utilitarian. He's probably going to be here for a while because he is only 46 right now. The GDP line is just like straight up. We're currently number 8 in the world. Pretty soon we're going to be able to pass Canada. Kind of crazy Canada's above us right now. Canadian GDP growth this patch is just so much higher than it's ever been before. It's because like all the small Canadian states, they all have their own investment pool that's getting 3x'd, and then they all just build up tons of construction and do really well, I guess. But it's still crazy that they like consistently get close GDP to America. I mean, it's usually not this close, but they do consistently get pretty close to America. Well, now we're past the 50 million GDP mark, and we're still running like 360K reinvestment, which is really solid. I think we're now just able to afford 840 construction, like pretty much completely fine, which is pretty nice. Oh, pen and paper is not a great event for this. I guess we'll take the negative bureaucracy. Oh, we lost our utilitarian industrialist? You're kidding me. You're kidding me. There's no way we lost our utilitarian industrialist. No. Yeah, that's going to make getting onto like women's suffrage or whatever quite a bit harder unless we have a utilitarian here somehow, which we don't. Alright, I should start colonizing in more malaria prevention areas now that we have malaria prevention. Yeah, we can always do 5 colonies. Actually, we have plus 20% colony growth speed right now, so I guess we should do 6 colonies. Start colonizing over here in Namaka land, because we do want to be able to cut the British off here. the British still have no malaria prevention, so we should be able to cut them off here with Namaka land. Let's start Hero land as well. Wait, what? I actually canceled Namaka land somehow, but I'm gonna start Hero land as well. It is not optimal for colony growth speed, I think, but hopefully we can get the British off here. Joining compulsory primary school probably actually just makes no sense, given that we have industrialists that are mad at it, because we don't want the industrialists to be mad at us. We would really like for them to be happy with us, in fact. So we should probably go something else, like census suffrage. Oh, it's one approval of him getting the industrialist their bonus. Let's do shenanigans. This should make the industrial get their bonus. Then cancel and do census instead. That way we don't have any problems with the industrialists not giving us their 20% capitalist investable contribution efficiency, which is pretty nice. Nice, negative 20% enactment time and plus 15 success chance. We could go like, we could try to min taxes, no authority usage to get the negative 65% enactment time and just go for it, but I think that's probably unnecessary. That's unfortunate. I thought this bug was fixed. There's a tiny little thing over here. In the patch notes, they claimed that impassable... Oh, wait, this isn't actually due to impassable terrain, but this is one of the bugs where you can't colonize due to frontier colonization. The patch notes said something about a bug like this, and apparently it's not patched. Very unfortunate to see, although it is much smaller than it was in my Australia game. Apparently, my colony in Hero Land refuses to colonize further than the coastline? What? That's very weird. I wonder once we colonize this, will that stop being the case? I don't know. Oh wait, I should stop trying to cut Britain off here, because they're going to use the expand colonial administration thing to give this territory to me, aren't they? I guess cutting them off is kind of unnecessary if they're going to do that. Although, I guess we don't know for sure that they will, but they probably would, right? So it's probably unnecessary to do this, but I'm going to keep doing it anyway, just in case. We can start colonizing Hero Land again now. Oh, we're running a really good pile of bounds and investment pool right now. I guess we can continue expanding construction. That is pretty nice. Census suffrage is finally through. Quite nice. Now I want to go for women's suffrage next, ideally, but we'll see how possible that is. What's the election results? Oh, the Radical Party is winning. That's going to mean that we probably actually will be able to do that, because the Radical Party contains the two interest groups that want women's suffrage. Usually I don't get women's suffrage too early, but I do want to give it a try this game, just because usually I never get my workforce ratio anywhere near what we need for like a super high GDP per capita, but if we go women's suffrage like 2 decades earlier than I normally go it, then we might have a better chance at that. Although I think migration might still make it quite difficult to keep our workforce ratio up, because I think the migrants don't get our new workforce ratio. We have to have them have kids and stuff before that applies to them, and unfortunately that's not going to work out with our SOL being so high, it's probably going to go like way higher than this eventually. Right now it's at like 16, which isn't terrible. We're still getting decent pop growth, but once you get into like the 20s, it becomes terrible. The one disadvantage of going to census suffrage is that we actually now lost our 20% bonus to colony growth speed. Very sad, but we can go and bring in the Radical Party to government and start passing women's suffrage. It's going to make the Anglican Church very mad, but who cares about the Anglican Church, right? Oh, nice. We get a little uprising in Nama. This is especially good because it's going to mean that the British are unable to colonize here because they'll have a truce. Just got vulcanization. That's going to be real nice because... Oh, and we have open hearth process we tech spreaded recently. That's going to be really nice, though, because that's going to give us machine steel tools. And we are currently importing a lot of tools from the British, apparently. So that should... Yeah, that lowered our economic dependence by like 0.2, which is a pretty nice reduction. Yeah, now tools are no longer our largest thing we're importing. They're second largest. We're still importing a lot of tools, though, despite that. So you might want to start building up tools. Like maybe Lorenzo Marx, we should build up some tools because this state is our main rubber producing state right now. Yeah, okay, let's... Oh, it's actually not that profitable there compared to like here. Or I guess for predicted productivity in the future. Yeah, I didn't consider that this doesn't have the tooling company's throughput applied to it in theory, so should be pretty good. Just building up there, and they're on some marks, a pretty big tooling workshop, so that we stop running a shortage of tools relative to the British market, because we do want to have something similar for when we end up declaring independence, because we will almost certainly be declaring independence at some point, probably fairly soon. Why do I have to start colonizing in Hero Land again? I don't have any idea. That's very strange. I guess we should go annex the Marina Kingdom. Since we are over 50 million GDP, there isn't really a reason to not annex the Marina Kingdom. Oh, I expelled diplomats, but it's not enough. We need to damage relations by 1 point as well. Okay, I'm going to go for the conquest of the Marina Kingdom. We are probably going to want a bigger navy for this war, so I'll build up, or Or actually, we're gonna need to do this in multiple states, I guess, probably. Yeah, let's do like 5 per state in a bunch of states here. And that's gonna be like overkill in terms of navy size, but it's gonna take a long time for all these to employ up, I assume. I'm gonna do general training and power of the purse as well, so we can get the employment up faster. We have now passed the Australia run in GDP, which I'm pretty happy with for South Africa, which I feel like is arguably worse than Australia. Although I guess we were playing even taller in the Australia run, just Australia, instead of like colonizing Dutch East Indies and stuff. Whereas here we are like all of southern Africa, which is a bit bigger than Australia. Well, it's quite a bit bigger than Australia, really. But our starting condition is a bit worse because, like, you have to manually get autonomy increased relative to Australia, where you just have to complete Australian Confederation and then you automatically become a dominion. Just goes to show the power of foreign investment rights in your overlord. Shewa joined against our war against the Marina King apparently, but that's not going to matter because unless they station their troops on the island, I don't think that'll do anything. Actually, they might station their troops on the island. We're going to wait for our navy to get up here before I consider trying to land it, though. Women's suffrage passed. Very nice. That means our workforce ratio is going to be trending towards like 45% along with the trade union bonus. Yeah, let's take a look at that real quick. Workforce ratio trending towards 45%. Very nice. That could almost double our GDP, or GDP per capita, I mean. Our GDP per capita is currently 3rd in the world, while we're behind Canada. This is unacceptable. We should be passing Canada pretty soon without women's suffrage, I think. Yeah, Canada's just got way less pops than us, so it gets a much higher GDP per capita, unfortunately. We're already up to number 4 GDP in the world. Oh, we're not gonna be able to pass Britain very easy. They're at 300 million in 1883. That's crazy. The what's it called? 1.9.8 made it so that the AI is no longer capped in how much construction they build, apparently. So I assume that's the reason why Britain is doing so much better than normal. I don't think it's normal for Britain to be at quite this much. They have 3,000 construction. Yeah, that's definitely not normal. So passing Britain is going to be even harder this patch than it was before. Britain was already doing so good, but yeah, now they get to do even better. I assume that they're not going to be able to do too much better than this because they are basically capped out on all their pop. Like, they're going to need to get migration or something to do better than that. Although I guess they did get a ton of pop at one point here. What did they take? Oh, they took UA. I thought they said that they patched the bug where things would get counted as conquered China had happened. Well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, Britain has conquered Guangxi and stuff, so that's going to mean that they can go quite high in GDP. Oh wow, their GDP per capita is that high while they have these two states with almost nothing? Crazy. Time to start invading Madagascar. I guess we should upgrade our... oh, we don't actually have any mobile artillery. It's just conscripts that we have as mobile artillery. But, yeah, we should start getting some... Let's take out the line infantry conscripts because we don't have too much of an offense penalty here. But I'm just going to try to go for the Marina Kingdom here. Wait, what? What happened? Huh? I'm so confused why the naval invasion just canceled. Oh, our fleet lost its commander. Okay, that would explain why the naval invasion just randomly canceled, I guess. Okay, yeah, we're having a -8 front here. Oh, but that's because the Shaywins are moving over their army, but it's going to be a long time till they actually arrive. So let's get 4 generals so we can hopefully push in before the Shaywins arrive. Because if the Shaywins do arrive, it's going to be a bit harder for sure. Yeah, first battle should be going pretty well for us, definitely. Oh yeah, we're running really good. We can get even more construction. Very nice. We got 25 sectors in all of core South Africa. Well, I guess you can consider these also part of core South Africa, since South Africa owned those historically, but they didn't end up owning them eventually. Okay, I've occupied the capital of Madagascar. Now we gotta get the southern bit, or just wait for them to capitulate. I guess we have to wait either way, because Shewa's in the war, so they won't just capitulate when we occupy their whole country. Okay, well, with Madagascar's done, some new territory we can start incorporating. Photographs of South Africa. Nice little boast to legitimacy. Oh, we're easily at 100 legitimacy now. That's pretty nice. I'm gonna start damaging relations with Britain back down to back down to +50, because I'm thinking we probably want to declare independence somewhat soon. Although we don't have a big enough army yet, we could probably build up an army relatively easily. And yeah, we're gonna need to get some support independences and stuff, but it shouldn't be too difficult to declare independence, I think. I mean, our market is quite different from the British market, but we should be able to fix that and be fine. The main 2 advantages of getting independence is we no longer have to pay the British this ridiculous Diplo Pact, and we have the ability to law commitment India, although they're probably going to get their independence and, like, fracture pretty soon, which might be a little bit of a problem. But hopefully that won't happen. There's a good chance it won't, I think, considering they still have the Indian National Movement only at like 50% right now because their liberty desire is actually really low. So if they can keep the liberty desire down, they should be fine. One thing I just noticed is that there's actually like no lead in South Africa. That is quite unfortunate that we don't have lead. Lead is always very important for big economies because, like, we have huge glass demands. If you look at our economic dependence, one of the things giving the most is going to be our glass plus 0.7. And yet the largest thing is glass because you need tons of glass for construction. Unfortunately, yeah, we have no lead, which is going to make making glass quite difficult. We need to have a lot of trade centers and stuff ready to be able to make or import lots of lead for our glass works. And we're going to need to have a lot of glass works ready, I guess. Yeah, we gotta make a bunch of glass works probably. Wait, why can we not make glass works? I don't see glass. Oh, there's glass works. Oh, we don't even have it on the right glass PM, I guess, because we don't have any lead in our country. But yeah, we can start building up some glass works to get ready for independence and stuff. All the South Italians are moving to South Africa. Let's go, South Italians, South Africa. It makes perfect sense. Like irrigation, very nice. We're 27 months away from combustion engine, the greatest PM in all of Victoria history. We're getting pretty close to 200 million GDP here, which is going to be pretty nice. I think we're still probably like 2x away from the UK, right? Or the UK's not really grown too much recently. Yeah, they've started to stagnate a little bit because they're probably just got pretty much everyone employed except for in those unincorporated states. So they don't really have too much more they can do at this point. Apparently, the automatic irrigation GDP jump immediately goes back down a little bit. Unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate to see. I guess it's because engine prices in the British market are just incredibly high right now. Oh, we get a mass migration from the Khalsa Raj? That's pretty nice. That's probably going to be really big. Oh, that is really big. Oh, very nice. Okay, okay. We love to see that. I don't know why it claims South Africa is supported by British Abyssinia as what's happening here when we're the one that need to have high liberties there. It used to be the opposite. But I'm going to do this. Support the independence of these guys and these guys. And maybe these guys. No, they don't want our support independence because, we want to have everyone join us for our independence war if possible. We're only at 74 relations. Unfortunately, our relations are going down less than I expected. I think it might be, for some reason, only going down by 0.5. That's what it claims. I didn't think that was going to be true, though, because all these cap out plus 50, but I guess they also work at slowing down damaging your relations regardless of that. Yeah, okay. That's pretty unfortunate. We can just use these and lower relations by 40. We could actually expel diplomats, I guess. Don't really want to do that, but that might just be what we have to do. Who could we get support independence from? We need to have lots of support independences to make sure we can win the war because, UK is very strong. 45,000 power projection. Oh, that's so much. Okay, well, I'm gonna start getting an army ready to try to get ready for independence because the thing is we can't support British East Africa's independence, so we're going to have to fight on land. I'm going to declare war on the Ottoman Empire for Zanzibar. Figure that'll be a nice little area to expand in. It shouldn't be too difficult to steal that from the Ottoman Empire. We still have text to spread in all three categories, so I'm thinking expanding our universities is probably going to be worth it. North Madagascar, these states are all like super big, unincorporated. I guess Eastern Cape is going to be our best incorporated state. I'll build up like 250 universities here in Eastern Cape. Just want to start getting our tech spread going a little bit. This is going to be pretty expensive, but we're still tech spreading in all three categories, which should not be happening in 1889, Well, it kind of should, but we should be taking advantage of that at least, so that we can get to the point where we're occasionally tech spreading production and society and usually tech spreading military. Now that we have combustion engine, we could go straight for compressed ignition, or we could try to go for some company slots. I'm thinking going for company slots and zeppelins and stuff is going to be our next play. Might start investing in some automobiles now, but it is going to be a little bit bad. Without having the company, it's not quite as overpowered. I mean, it's still like a really good industry without the company, but it's not as game-changing. Oh, we need a lot more railways for Transvaal. Or are they not getting subsidized? Is that the problem? Oh, they're not getting subsidized. That's the problem. Okay, let's quickly start subsidizing our railways. And let's swap up to joint, whatever. Yeah, joint steam trains. El Salvador here with a 7.5 GDP per capita? What are the people of El Salvador doing? Um, Textile mills? Is this actually how they're getting their GDP per capita? I guess that's by far their most productive thing. It's only 27 productivity. Surprising that gets them to 7.5 GDP per capita. Are they like on women's suffrage or something? No, they're on legal guardianship. I'm surprised that's enough. Okay, I'm gonna start invading the Victorian Lake countries now. This war with the Ottomans is lasting really long because they're just losing like 1.5 war support per week because they didn't get any casualties or anything. They're just getting that one from occupation of the war goal. Yeah, this army's still demobilizing because they demobilized it because there's no point in having it mobilized. Now I can just go and remobilize it and send it over here to go kill Burundi and then all these countries over here. This will be some nice territory. The Victorian Lakes, they don't have terrible resources, especially Tanzania. Tanzania has pretty good resources, although most of it is in British East African hands. Maybe I shouldn't be researching these two texts because they're probably going to text spread after philosophical pragmatism, so actually I'm going to just quickly start researching compression ignition. We're going to not obviously research all like 100k tech progress. We're going to get this up some amount and then start researching like corporate charters or whatever, corporate governance first because yeah, this is going to take way too long to just finish right now. Or we can peace out with Ottomans for Zanzibar. Very, very nice little bit of expansion there. And start incorporating that and keep going into Tanzania. Okay, I think maybe we can't really afford, or I guess we're almost with the unis, but I think we can't really afford too much more government construction here because our balance is looking pretty bad. So I'm going to actually pause government construction just for a little bit here. And then actually we'll go up to very high taxes because, yeah, negative balance there was not looking good. We're spending 80k in interest right now, along with a 300,000 in Diplopax to the British. I should probably go very low gov wages because any money we spend is like really bad when we have to give some of our income to the British. It's especially bad. I'm just going to ask for some things from the British here because I want to try to lower my relations. We're 29 after this. Wait, did they not? I thought they resigned. What? Oh wait, yeah. Now we're 29 relations. I don't know why it took them so long to respond to that, but I think we're gonna have to expel diplomats if we want to fight the British. Thing is, our army is like nowhere near strong enough right now. I guess yeah. With the UK not conscripted right now, we're like a 2.5 at their power reduction. If we get some people supporting our independence, maybe that's enough. But I would like a bit more than that. I guess we can get Canada. That's pretty big. Canada, we got a decent amount of people supporting our independence, I think. I guess we can take a look at the countries list here. Brazil, Russia, British Abyssinia, Egypt, Canada. If we get like France as well, that could be something. And France doesn't want to support us because they're belligerent. Dang. Russia, please. Wait, why can we not get... I thought I didn't get Russia yet, did I? Okay, apparently I already did get Russia. I didn't think I did for some reason. I'm going to cancel my treaty with the British. I want to have my investors actually investing in my country for a little bit because I'm seeing like all of our investment is going overseas. I'm thinking we want to stop doing that now. And I'll renegotiate the British treaty to remove investment rights, or the Russian treaty as well to remove investment rights. Just want to, stop investing overseas too much so we can start using this investment in our own country. Apparently the Germans are building in us. Dang, evil Britain gave the Germans investment rights. Oh yeah, Britain's allied to Germany. They love doing this. I hate this so much. We text spreaded in investment banks, and now I'm going corporate governance, and then I'm actually going to go Zeppelins for the Mappy and the attack bonus, and then compression ignition, because we got to get compression ignition. It's so broken. For our third company, I think I'm going to go for South African Motors. I don't know if we're going to end up going to Beers or not. Probably not, because it's just such a bad company, but I did think it would be good for the meme. Maybe we should put down some of these, or put less of these greener grass campaigns. Like, yeah, I don't know. We probably don't need that many, right? What's our mass migration attraction at right now? At 97. That's probably fine. Let's take a look at the next Monday. See what it's gone down to after we do that. Probably quite a bit lower. Yeah, 75, but that's still probably... Yeah, it's still high enough that with multicultural... It's lower than the British, but we should still be able to get plenty of mass migrations. Like we just got one from France and stuff. Because we're just by far the most accepting of the pops. And then we can use that to monopolize automotive industries, and we should start privatizing motors probably as well. The thing about privatizing when you're a subject is it's not great, it's very, very bad. Should we privatize our motor industries? Probably, because we've got a company for it. I guess we can give a monopoly. I don't really wanna, but I guess we have the authority. We might as well use it. It's not a great thing. We have to go below 20 relations with the British so we can finally declare our independence if we want. I don't know if we can win that war though. Sad thing is we can't declare forced nationalization in our initial war because they have investment rights in us. It's quite annoying that this is how that works, but it just is, unfortunately. Oh, India went free. Um, I don't know if that's good or not. It might mean we can get some migrations from them. It might mean that we don't get any migrations from them because they have no radicals. Looks like they might be having no radicals, which would be pretty sad if India has no radicals. We cannot be allowing this scammering. Oh, they have enough radicals in the Marathi culture, potentially. Telugu, maybe we can get some mass migrations from India. That would be great fun if we can get some mass migrations from independent India. It's probably time to give up on the South African Plantations Company because its profit is not very good. So yeah, let's just disband the company. It's not going to be that much money that we lose out on, and this will mean that, we get an extra company slot, which we can go and put towards something actually useful. We don't want to go United Construction because we're going to lose that when we get independence. Restart Minerals could make some sense here. Or we could go a metals company, but our only lead is in like East Angola, I think. And maybe one of these other states, Zambia. Yeah, those are only two lead states, so I don't know. Lead, how much sulfur do we have, actually? I don't know. We have no sulfur? You're kidding that there's no sulfur in South Africa. That's crazy. There's literally zero sulfur in Southern Africa. Well, that's not great for us, but I guess we can import sulfur and stuff. Well, I guess that means we should go for like a metal company, or we could pick out a company with neither, I guess. I think even though we can't use the tools industry charter, generic wood might be pretty good here because a large fraction of our economy is probably going to be in rubber and logging. Yeah, probably that's going to be a pretty decent company to go for. Um, it's probably not optimal. I don't know what company to go for though, so it's good enough. I just swapped up electric sawmills on anything that we had a power plant in. I'm now going to build up some more power plants in all those states so that we can actually afford the electric sawmills. So we can get support independence from Austria. Um, this treaty isn't terrible. Let's just renegotiate it into basically just support independence, I guess. Yeah, okay, let's just do that. And then we can think about declaring our independence here, I guess. Oh wait, our relations with Britain are higher? Oh, they're improving relations with us. I guess that means we have to expel diplomats or wait another like year and a half. Just expel diplomats. Let's look at this. So it would be 23,000 power projection versus quite a bit more than that, plus Germany at 25,000. It's pretty close. Oh, and UK might join, or I mean, USA might join too. That's quite scary. All right, I'm gonna go for it. Independence from the British. I should probably build a lot more trade centers for this. Yeah, I'm gonna start spamming some trade centers in our country because I think we're gonna need a lot of trade after leaving the British Empire. Oh, apparently British East Africa has exempt from service, so we're actually safe from any direct invasions. They're gonna have to naval invade us, I guess. Which means Canada and who else is in this war with us? Egypt are the only people who have to deal with fronts, I guess. So we could assign a pretty substantial fraction of our army to defending Egypt, I guess. Yeah, let's send over like 121 soldiers to help Egypt out because we wouldn't want Egypt to get occupied. I'm going to survey a skyscraper because that'll give us another 25% trade capacity and stuff. Now this company's going, I guess we could go for United Transvaal metal producers because getting a company for that stuff is going to be pretty nice. Yeah, let's go for that. Give it coal mines as an industry charter. Okay, we're now independent. We can see we've lost a ton of our GDP now. Sulfur is especially a problem. I'm going to put everything that we have a shortage on low subvention instead of having low tariff, because we definitely don't want to be having tariffs on this stuff. Quite annoying that it auto... Oh wait, I don't want to do that. No, that's not one of the goods we're shortaging. Yeah, I'm going to put all this stuff on low subvention instead of massive tariffs, or not massive, but still tariffs. Yeah, getting oil is going to be a bit tricky. I don't think there's really any oil in southern Africa, unfortunately. Okay, I've removed tariffs and stuff, so we should be a little bit better now. Hopefully our economy can rebound and be fine, because, we did lose like 100 million GDP from declaring independence, but that's pretty normal, because we lost access to the British market. As prices adjust, we should be fine. We're going to kind of need those trade centers. I don't know if we have enough trade centers right now. We might not have enough trade centers. Yeah, I'm gonna unpause construction. We gotta start getting trade centers and stuff built. GDP's already rebounded by like 10 million because trade is slowly swapping up to the correct stuff. It's gonna take a while to fully rebound though, probably like 5 years almost. We got a mass migration from Britain of the Chinese. It's a not a huge Chinese culture group, but it's still pretty nice. Oh, we're getting some mass migrations from India here. Looks like it. I didn't notice we were getting those, but that is very nice. They're getting Indian Bengali. Okay. Oh, UA to South Angola. That's nice. UA is a pretty big culture group relative to Yi or whatever. Still looks like we're not getting too many migrants here, probably because this isn't really a very big state to migrate to. Probably getting capped on the state. So apparently we're not enforcing independence from Canada, even though their capital is occupied by us. So I'm a little bit confused about why that's happening. That doesn't exactly make any sense. This war goal will be controlled if we maintain of any of the Canadian capital of Quebec, and we do. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe it's worded wrong and it needs to say all of these, in which case the capital requirement doesn't need to be there at all. So yeah, we're just gonna continue holding out. I guess Canada's probably gonna cap out, but we'll still be here. And once Canada's out of the war, that war goal will vanish. We might not be able to actually hold Egypt. We'll see. Looks like this front isn't going too well. We're getting naval invaded by the British. I think we'll be able to hold out unless they have like a Zeppelin bonus or something. I don't think that they'll be able to push in. I guess maybe they can. They have luxurious supplies and stuff, but the 25% naval oh, these troops do not have org. Oh no, that's not good. That's very bad. You need to come back like now. Uh-oh. The British are starting a third naval invasion on us. That's not great. 5 weeks away. I guess we need to start conscripting up a third army, because otherwise I don't know how we possibly hold against these three naval invasions. So yeah, let's get ready for that. Put everything on defense. Luxurious supplies. Oh, there's our first naval invasion. Let's send this army over there. There's the second naval invasion. Send our second army over there. Okay, looks like we're doing good on the defense so far. Good to see. Oh, the front advantages here aren't looking too great, but it looks like we are still holding, so that's good to see. Britain's going to be going negative war support soon, but they really don't want to make peace yet, unfortunately. Okay, Britain is now negative war support, but it's going to be a little bit longer until we can get them to capitulate. Apparently with USA out of the war, they want peace less. Oh, Russia's also out of the war. That's why they want peace less. Okay. Okay, Britain's willing to accept peace now. We get our independence. Why does it claim... this is like the second time ever I've seen the achievement unlocked Declaration of Independence. Usually you get the achievement unlocked pop-ups a lot more, but yeah, this is my second time seeing it for Declaration of Independence. We are now independent South Africa. Very nice. Makes our negative balance go down quite a bit less bad now that we're independent, because even while you're in your independence war, you have to pay the British your subject tax, but now that we're actually independent, we no longer have to pay the British anything. Let's see how the British economy is doing with us declaring independence. Look like it didn't actually hurt them too much, because India's also in there at some point too, so I don't know which of those jumps was India and which of those was us, actually. We have giant negative tax capacity in some states. I should really build up tax capacity. That's definitely going to be worth it. Yeah, that's a big mistake. 800,000 in unrealized taxes is ridiculous. What am I doing? Wait, what? Why are we getting tax waste here? Huh? That doesn't make sense. We should not be getting tax waste. We should be getting uncollected taxes, not tax waste. Huh? I'm so confused what's giving us 27% tax waste. Oh, negative bureaucracy. Yeah, we really need to fix bureaucracy right now. So building up those government administrations should help. We get the Zeppelins event. Nice. I guess I'll take the army offense. I don't think there's really going to be too many wars we need to fight in this time. Why is the game so laggy right now? What? Nice new Bengali mass migration into Lorenzo Marks. Love to see it. See, does that actually give us any pops, though? What? Why are we not getting any pops from this Bengali mass migration? I guess we're getting like 8,000, but that's not enough for a Bengali mass migration. This is unacceptable. Building up all those government administration. Oh, I just realized we should probably create a power block. But yeah, building up these government administrations is giving us a lot of extra bureaucracy, and we're no longer deleting so much money from unrealized taxes. I guess we should probably create a trade league. I'll go external trade. Yeah, we can't go sovereign empire since we don't have a monarchy. And I don't want to have subjects anyway, so trade league is going to be the play. Gonna have to go for some members, because I do want to get, like, freedom of movement or something. Companies, freedom of movement would be nice. So we need to try to get some people into the block. Ideally a bunch of minor powers. Probably we can get like British East Africa or something as one of our members, and maybe British Abyssinia we can't subjugate because it's not within our three strategic regions I'm going for. But we can try to get a bunch of other people in the block. Maybe Mexico. Maybe Mexico. Let's try to put an interest in Mexico instead of maybe Niger. I don't know. Just take a look. Oh, we need to click on power block leverage. Oh, we are on power block leverage. Why are we not seeing leverage on like New Granada or anything yet? Okay, here we are. America's at 1K. That might be too much. Okay, is there anyone we can easily get into our block? Maybe not. Portugal? Let's take a look at Portugal. They have 10,000 total leverage in Portugal. Okay, that's definitely not happening. I guess we'll try for New Granada. It's going to be kind of tough, but we can give it a shot. We have max cohesion, so maybe we can do it. Let's do this. Is that everything pretty much? Yeah, I think so, actually. So let's look at that. They should sign the treaty. Now we're turning towards 92 leverage. Oh, we should probably get off of state religion. That's not very good. Oh, humiliation that we accepted is not great for this. We can also defensive pact them. That'll give a little bit more leverage and not too much of a cost. That brings us up from plus 92 to plus 148. That's very good. We finally have recovered to pre-war GDPs. Very nice. Oh, we can afford like a almost doubling of construction. Yeah, we're gonna go for a lot more construction. In fact, we actually basically can afford a doubling of construction because we can afford a little bit of a deficit. Mass scale trading, 40 million extra GDP. It's probably gonna go down a bit as the trade centers downsize their routes, but I mean, you know, that's still a very nice GDP bump. Yeah, we went down 10 million there as trade centers downsize routes, and they definitely are still gonna have to downsize a bit because trade centers are not profitable, but it's still a very nice little swap up. These steel prices in our country are super high. Steel mills are so productive. We really need to build more steel mills. I just keep building more steel mills in Transvaal, and it keeps being profitable. Like, we got 20,000 steel production just in Transvaal. I guess it's just because there's so much local coal and iron production here. Our color looks so similar to Germany on the exporters thing. Yeah, it's a very close color. We're the number 3 importer in the world and the number 2 exporter right now. Hopefully we get to number 1 of each. We probably will pretty soon here because we just keep expanding in trade. I'm gonna go on to freedom of conscience because I do want to be able to get like New Granada and stuff into the block, and getting small penalty from being the wrong religion is not too great. If we're on freedom of conscience, it shouldn't be as much of a problem. We're getting real close to passing the British in GDP. Yeah, they recently had a big spike in GDP growth again, but we should be able to pass them anyway. We can go annex the Congo now. That'll be nice. Make our borders a little bit cleaner. We need to really annex like British East Africa and stuff to get our borders really clean. Unfortunately, Russia has sided against us. I did not expect that. Russia took them as a subject. Okay, that's not ideal. I guess we can sway Sweden into the play. Is that good? No, probably not, given Russia has double our power projection. I think we're just gonna want to occupy this and then hold the war like that. I think that's gonna be the best way to do this. Austria offers mutual trade privileges. Of course, we'll take it. Han mass migration from Great Britain. How many Han states do the British own? I guess not that many. It's not gonna be huge probably, but it should be relatively big, right? Surely we get some migrants from this. Surely. The money okay, yeah, 31,000 migrants into Transvaal is pretty solid. Automobile prices are so high. I should spam so many automobiles here. It's so profitable. 130 automobiles. So easy money. Push into Congo is really not going well. I cannot believe the Russians like actually committed so hard to this play. Why would you do this to me, Russia? This is crazy. Like, the Russians are actually beating us over Congo. Why would you do this to me, Russia? This is very annoying. We're gonna need to make like a proper army to beat Russia here. Yeah, let's raise the conscripts. We gotta hold the defense here for a little bit while we build up like way more shrapnel artillery. What? Negative 60% offense from masterless colony? Huh? Is this because these troops do not have enough officers? Or is this some sort of modifier for what? Is this a I'm so confused if this is something for like colonies. No, this isn't is this a colony thing? For real? What state is this in? Okay, this is in Tanzania. Do these troops not have enough officers? No, they do. Huh. What? Masterless colony. Is this a South Africa event? I did not see this. That's so bad. Oh no. Yeah, I didn't notice we got that. That would explain why we have such a low power projection. Negative 60% offense, negative 40% defense. I wonder if this is just a thing you get when you get independence as a colony now. So looking at the code, it appears this was triggered by an event that you get when you declare independence, or when you get your independence as a colony in Africa. It's all, like all the African strategic regions. Nice, we passed half a billion GDP, and we passed the British. Very nice to see. Also, I just read the 1.10 dev diary, and it looks really exciting. You know, you can support separatism. Like, if you're Greece, you could support separatism in the Ottoman Empire to try to make a Greek secession more likely. Apparently, you can give, like, upwards of 27% activism on a movement, because that's what they showed in the thing. And that's, like, a ton. That's probably enough to make the Greek national movement happen early on, because it is usually close enough that, you know, it triggers in every once in a while. So I think that that would probably be enough. This war against Congo is going to take a while because I don't think we're going to win against. We're going to win it until the masterless colony bonus is gone. This is very bad. Yeah, trying to attack into Congo while we have that penalty is not working. So maybe we just have to white peace this war. Except Russia doesn't even want a white peace, so I guess that's not really an option. Oh, we can afford way more construction again. Yeah, we need to go all out on construction. We can afford to get quite a bit more. That's a nice thing compared to Australia, where we were stuck with every state at max construction. Here in South Africa, we've got plenty of states to construct in. Just got compression ignition, very nice. Let's go for like macroeconomics and antibiotics now. Let's turn on compression ignition in our maybe motor industries, but first we're going to do automotive industries. That hurts our GDP in the short term. We do need to import more oil and export more automobiles. I assume we're going to need to build probably a bunch of trade centers in order. Yeah, the trade centers are so productive. Let's build like a few billion trade centers everywhere to get the trade good. Because you know, Rechtsstaat really needs to export all their 194 automobiles, and we need to import a lot of oil. Yeah, world market price for oil is quite high right now, unfortunately. I almost have enough leverage to get New Granada into the block. We're 5 leverage away. That's crazy. We're that close. We're not quite there. Oh, we can do military assistance. That should be easily enough to get us over the edge and get our first member of the block. We're gonna get like a 1 mandate this whole game. So sad. We should be able to get a bit more than 1 mandate, but really not that many mandates, unfortunately, because it's so hard to get members into your block, unfortunately. Okay, we can invite. Oh, they sent us a thing, so we can accept that. And yeah, now we're gonna take 4 years to get our first mandate instead of 7 years. I guess that's a small improvement. Oh, our GDP has shot up to 600 million or something because we got the compression ignition going. Very nice. We're up to a GDP per capita of 10 in Rechtsstaat. Gotta spam more automobiles. Yeah, they're already at positive prices, and we only have export subsidies at 1. Um, where do we want to keep it? We could go diesel engines, but we don't really have the oil for that, so we should probably just keep building more automotive industries. Where should we build them? Let's look at where we have peasants. We have peasants basically nowhere. Where do we have job seekers, I guess? We can take a look at that. We have job seekers in Cape Colony. Okay, I guess we'll build up in Cape Colony then. I know job seekers aren't a great indication, but they're something at least. Unfortunately, the Cape Colony automobiles are kind of crashing our price of automobiles. We might want to put the subvention up another tier, but that will make us have to spend a lot more on the subvention. But I think we got to do it to keep getting our GDP up. We got to subvent the automobiles more. Also, we should probably build more trade centers here. Yeah, we're probably trade center capped, actually. That's probably a problem. We need more trade centers. Looks like the subventions are helping out our GDP. We're not up to #1 GDP per capita in the world, seemingly because El Salvador has lost their GDP per capita mostly. And, oh, what happened to Britain's GDP? They seem to have fallen slightly. Oh, they're in a rebellion. That would explain why we're in #1 by such a large margin. I'm going to go for a trade rights charter on this company because that way we can get the trade centers to have more throughput because you know you get extra throughput on the trade centers if they're owned by a company. So I figure that's going to be pretty good. I guess we can give it a monopoly on that so it buys them up a little bit quicker. That'll be nice for an extra like 40% throughput on all of our trades. You can see it's going up quite quickly as the company buys up more and more of the building levels. Yeah, it's already at like 17% throughput. That's going to be pretty nice for increasing our trade volumes. Oh, 7 GDP per capita. Nice to see. So we definitely cannot swap onto diesel engines, but what we could try to do is electric engines. Yeah, let's research steam turbine and let's try to get some electric engines going here in Richtstadt and stuff. Because if we can get electric engines, that would make our motor prices quite a bit better, which would be nice. We passed freedom of conscience, pretty nice. Wow, Congo got reduced to puppet. That's how long this war's been going on. We're almost out of masterless colony, so we can actually take it over. I'm gonna turn on coal-fired power plants, and then it's time to go up to electric engines on the motor industries, and this should be pretty nice. Electricity prices are really high right now, but we've got a lot of power plants in these states, so it should just be waiting for these to employ up, and then it should be pretty good. Yeah, like Orania has very productive power plants, as well as very productive, or not productive automobile industries, I guess because the price of engines is now quite a bit lower. Oh, wow, why are they so unprofitable? That's surprising that they're this unprofitable, given that the price of power isn't that high or anything. I guess it's just, oh, steel prices are ridiculous. We need so much steel. Wow. Yeah, like everywhere job seekers needs to start getting some steel. Oh, we need railways as well. We've got minus infra in a ton of places. Yeah, let's start expanding more railways. Okay, we finally are out of that penalty, so we can start pushing into Congo finally. Defending our coasts while we wait to send the peace deal. Oh, they're yeah, minus 20 acceptance right now. Actually, they're going to capitulate the second they would accept, pretty much. We're just going to hold off these naval invasions they've launched against us while we wait. We're almost at 1 billion GDP, which is pretty solid. GDP per capita isn't as high as I would have hoped, considering we did go women's suffrage so early. But other than that, very happy with our GDP and stuff. I'm very surprised our GDP per capita is so much lower than the Australia run. I mean, it's not that much lower, but the fact we went women's suffrage so early would make me think it would be like higher. But our workforce ratio, I guess, is only like 33% or something, which, you know, that's not that great considering we've been on women's suffrage for 30 years. It's crazy how slow it is. The automobile factories are so profitable. I need to build even more automobile factories. This is so nice. We need more automobiles. Very nice. We're gonna hit 1 billion GDP without even lowering taxes to inflate the economy. Very nice. Like we're running a positive balance actually even. So like I guess we can even lower taxes and it's not even really inflating the economy. I guess this investment pool income isn't really real because we can't actually spend it right now. I guess we could build more construction. We could build more construction. 1 billion GDP. Very nice to see. We're on high taxes still, so we could probably get another 100 million by lowering taxes pretty easily. I need to expand the army more so that we can invade the British for British Congo and British East Africa and part of British Senegal because for some reason they own part of this area. But we gotta get ready for war with Britain because you know gotta finish this run, and we gotta own almost everything at least in Congo, Zand, and Southern Africa. Is it possible we could like buy these treaties from or these territories from the French maybe? Let's like prohibit trade with world market on random goods we don't care about. Oh, we could trade them our states. That's definitely not something we want to do. Probably not. Yeah, I mean, we could maybe get one of the states this way, but then we'd have to wait another 10 years to do another state. So probably we're gonna have to go for war on these states as well if we want them. So maybe after macroeconomic, oh, chemical warfare 6-year research. Okay, that's actually not gonna happen then. I guess we just go antibiotics. Yeah, because that 6 years is gonna take too long to be finished by the time we're done with this game, pretty much, probably. Or at least by the time we want to start the war. Unfortunately, like, almost every great power hates us, which is, yeah, not ideal. We should probably try to improve relations with some of these guys, because, yeah, it's not great to have everyone against us. If we want to fight a war with Britain, it's not going to be too useful. I guess we should go mop up, like, Bunyoro and whatever. Oh, apparently, the Americans and Germans are somewhat likely to join this place. Surely they're not actually going to join Bunyoro. Surely. The Americans actually did end up joining Bunyoro. Okay. I guess it's not really a big deal. We're just going to occupy Bunyoro and there's nothing America can do about it. I guess we'll go with the Home Goods Company. We unfortunately do already have both of its industry charters, but it still is a really good company because glass and furniture are two pretty good industries. For some reason, we had all of our furniture mills on no fancy furniture. How could we? This is such a grave mistake. I don't know that we're going to be able to take back our territories. The British have 30,000 power projection, and I have 31,000 power projection. So, yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to take back our territories. If the British also have the Germans on their side who have 45,000 power projection. What? Okay, it looks like declaring war on the Dutch is going to be our best way to dodge the Germans. So I'm going to try declaring war on the Dutch. And then Britain should hopefully join against us. And then with our set of like 4 pretty big armies, we should hopefully be able to defeat the British. We'll see, but I think we've got enough troops to defeat them. We have 39,000 power projection. They have 25,000. Although they're going to get a bunch more if they can script up, probably. Goals for the war: transfer British East Africa, transfer British Congo, and conquer the pieces of British Senegal. Hopefully Britain will actually join against us. There's India. Oh, that makes Britain less likely to join. That's not good. Well, seems like Britain isn't joining. I'm going to try to humiliate the duchies. I'll try to conquer Dutch Guyana. I'm not actually going to enforce this, but I want to have something. Hopefully the British will join the war. They're at 0 right now. We need to have some maneuvers left for them, but we don't need that many maneuvers. Please, please, Britain, please join. I'm gonna add in some war goals here, so that the British, or so that the British are more likely to join in. Humiliate Netherlands and humiliate. Oh no, we can't humiliate Luxembourg, right? That would require occupying the Dutch capital, which is not gonna be too easy. Hmm. What else can we do? Revoke claim on Wallonia? Sure, that will work. Surely now you'll call the British in. Right. Surely you'll call the British in. Oh, yes, we do get the British called in. Okay, very nice. Okay, British East Africa, British Congo, British Congo. Oh, there it is. And then conquer British Senegalese Congo, and conquer British Senegalese Gabon. Okay, mobilize the final army, and it's time for occupations. Okay. Yeah, our front advantages do not look too great here, which is not ideal. Definitely would like to have some better tech here for this war, but we can't really get better tech. I guess we could go for radio. Yeah, let's try to go for radios, I guess. If we get radios, that will actually be a pretty nice improvement. You know, that'll mean we can get siege artillery. Because right now, if we upgrade to siege artillery, our troops will just die. I'm getting a giant conscript army to try to defend this front here in Namaka land, because, yeah, this front's going to be kind of hard to hold, but we don't need to push into it to enforce the war, so just need to hold here. This is part of British East Africa, so if you just occupy Nairobi, I think, as the capital of British East Africa, we'll be fine. And we have pretty good advantages on the 2 fronts right now, which is a good sign, except we don't have good advantages here, which this front should be on defense, obviously. Let's make sure all of our troops are on luxurious supplies. Okay, now they are. We could turn on machine gunners. Let's definitely turn on machine gunners for this army, actually. Because this army definitely needs the defense. Oh, we're running an ammo shortage. Let's put ammo on high subventions. Please let me put off export subventions. Okay, yes, very good. Looks like our defense is going pretty okay, surprisingly, because we have like half the troops, but I guess they just don't have a high enough offense value to win. Wait, we won our offensive battle? What? What do you mean we had less offense, but we won with 3 troops? And we had like no casualties? What happened in this battle? Negative 125% morale loss? No, that's only because we were in pursuit right now. Huh, I don't know how we did so well in that battle. That's very strange. I'm going to get a new army because I'm pretty sure, yeah, the British Isles are kind of wide open right now. Not like completely, but they're pretty wide open, so we can just try to get an army ready to land the British Isles, like 10 skirmish, 10 lancers or something, or maybe a bit more. Or we want this to be in conscripts. Oops. Yeah, get like 20 skirmish conscripts and 20 lancer conscripts, something like that, and then you can raise the conscripts and eventually land the UK with this once it's ready. We also need more navy for this, sorta, because the British... Oh, the British are leaving with their navy? I think so, actually, so I guess we could give that a shot. Yeah, let's put everything on the highest training rate stuff, and then let's just... Or I guess it doesn't have an army yet. Once it gets a troop, we'll send it over. Okay, it has a troop now, so time to go for the home counties. Looks like the British have sent back like 100 troops to defend against the naval invasion, so it probably won't be able to get through, but at least we're doing good on the other fronts, so that's good news, right? We can start Probably building up more troops for these fronts here because we don't seemingly have quite as big an advantage as I would hope, and we do need something to use our construction on, so I guess we can just build up a larger military. Probably like a somewhat significant fraction of our pops are actually employed in the military, probably like 1 in 50 pops or something. Spending a mere 1.3 million on military goods. Looks like my naval invasion got canceled. We can restart it, right? What could possibly go wrong? We can get another 100 troops to go back or something. Wait, are they actually just like not going to bring enough troops back to let me, or to stop me from landing the home counties? I'm all for that, you know. We love them not allocating that 4 stack that's right there to this front. That's perfectly balanced game mechanics right here. We love to see it. Anyways, yeah, we're just going to get into the home counties here. We love to see it, unless there's some army that's way closer than the rest. Yeah, none of these armies are close, so we're just going to get into the home counties. And that's going to be pretty nice. Britain's currently just on 40 war support, so we might be able to get them negative from this. Maybe not, though. I don't know. We need to occupy the Rift Valley to enforce on British East Africa if we can't occupy the home counties. Oh, apparently they actually got troops back in time. Dang, I didn't think they would. Well, that's unfortunate. I guess we're going to end up failing then. Kinda crazy how stuck we are at 1 billion GDP. I don't know what the problem is. It's probably just that we don't have enough oil, really. We need more oil and stuff. Unfortunately, our economy is reliant on the world market, and the world market does not have enough stuff for us. Oh yeah, we can check out how much we're doing on the world market, I guess. We are, the number 3 exporter in the world. That's surprising we're not number 1, but I guess we're probably number 1 in actual value of exports, probably, right? If you look here, 5 million in exports, 4 million in exports, 5 million in exports. We're a little bit above Britain in exports. Yeah, we're number 1 in export value. The British have brought back 300 troops to defend against my naval invasion this time. You know, let's just put this on defense so that it just stays here forever. And the British have to keep 1 billion troops defending that. Unfortunately, our pushing into Rift Valley is taking a really long time, but we are almost there. Or not almost, but we're going to be over 50% there pretty soon. We should probably just turn on machine gunners in this and then go on defense for a little bit while we wait for those to wait for our org to go back up, because this will give us so much more battle occupation and offense. And we're about to get radios actually, which will be nice. We can turn on radio production. I guess we can start going into more electrics industries, and then yeah, let's start upgrading the siege artillery on at least these 2 for now, and then we can start the push in. Let's get that siege artillery going. It's not actually going to be ready in time for the battles, probably, but, you know, it's the thought that counts, really. Yeah. No, we're losing the battles. Okay, this was a bad idea. The front advantage tricked me. No. Yeah, this is why you should wait for 100 org, I guess. Also, we have 2 mandates. Unfortunately, we cannot go companies 3 with 2 mandates. We could go companies 2, or we could just go freedom of movement 2, I guess. Let's go companies 2, I guess. Unfortunately, we're probably not going to get companies 3 in time. Very sad. Okay, now we should be able to attack, right? Surely. We have a 63 advantage on the front. We have more offense defense than they do, and we have like triple their troop count. So surely we can push into the Rift Valley. Surely. Okay, we've occupied the Rift Valley. Very nice. Britain is now... Wait, did we occupy the home counties or something? Wait, how are they already at -14 if we didn't? I'm so confused. Okay, I don't know. But anyway, Britain, can you please accept my peace deal? No, Britain isn't going to accept my peace deal, so I guess they're just going to hit capitulation desire, and then we'll white peace the Netherlands, or we could try to force nationalization, but that is only 42 buildings, so not really worth it. Okay, yep, the British are about to capitulate, and that's going to mean more South African expansion. Very nice. Now we can white peace South Africa, and that'll be pretty nice. Now, Acoli, we do need to conquer Acoli real quick, and then after that, it's just the French stuff left. Unfortunately, we're probably going to have to go to war with France as well to get that. Oh, I'm not the number 1 GDP block right now? No! This is unacceptable. We must become the number 1 GDP block. Okay, war with Acoli is done escalating. I guess it's time for a war with France to take over this stuff. I don't think we really have any other options, so yeah, we gotta fight another war to take over these territories. I guess, actually, maybe we can get France to back down. Yeah, they're -75. But we don't want to have to land French mainland is the only thing. So, maybe not. Yeah, that would be a little tricky if we can't do anything to have to land the French mainland. We can, like, lib French Niger, French Senegal, and Tunis or something. That would be not too bad. lib Tunis, and we'll put in lib Senegal, French Niger, go beer. Definitely. Wait, why can we not add these things? This war goal cannot be added on behalf of another country. Oh, we don't have our interest yet. Okay. Okay, yeah, this is not going to work because they're now at minus 19 after they called in France and the Confederate States. So let's just put everything on Congo and try to occupy it. Well, let's put one thing on this, I guess. Oh, that's technically in the Congo HQ, actually. So, wait, what's Portuguese, South Cameroon? Okay, we're not conquering that, but I guess we'll conquer Spanish since it's in this war. And maybe we'll buy the Portuguese one, but probably not. Yeah, Spanish, South Cameroon. We've occupied French Gabon. Now we're going for the island of Spanish South Cameroon. Oh, that's occupied now. Okay. We do need to start worrying about these naval invasions coming into southern Africa. Alright, I do need to go send a naval invasion on Tunis since I did add that as a war goal. Okay, we can now make peace. Okay, very good. Is it possible we can get this from Portugal somehow? Like, is there any possible thing we could do to get Portugal to accept that, please? Where is it? Portuguese South Cameroon. We give them 7,500. That's 118 acceptance. Okay, this is definitely going to be possible then. Oh, we just need to look at like some max good transfers or whatever. Yeah, there's 30 acceptance. Oh, that's the only good transfer they want. We can get 2 from this. We can get some from ammo, I assume. We can get 3 from ammo. Okay, these odds aren't too bad. Or we can just owe them an obligation, I guess. And this is going to be good enough. And we get ourselves Portuguese South Cameroon. So that was pretty good. Now we own all 3 of the strategic regions, Congo, Zand, and Southern Africa. I guess before we end off, I guess we can try and, see how much we can boost our economy, go on, like, minimum taxes. We could try to delete some of the military. This military is super unnecessarily large. Yeah, let's probably, like, delete one of these armies at minimum, because this army is costing us so much money. Our negative balance looks so bad with it. Okay, let's do this. That'll be pretty good. Let's see how high our GDP will go. Probably to like 1.4 billion. We could put a max subvention on automobiles as well, I guess. No, we're not actually using all of our trade capacity anymore, so that would be useful. Okay, it's time to start really supercharging our economy with the good old automobile max subvention. This costs so much money, but it's going to make our economy go boom. 1.39 billion. Next Monday tick, what do we reach? Does it actually? Yep, 1.44 billion. 50 million in one tick from that. Okay, looks like we're peaking at around 1.5 billion GDP, just under, unfortunately. We get 9.4 GDP per capita. I am pretty happy with this run overall. We achieved some pretty good things. I think for South Africa, this is not too bad of a run. We managed to unite our 3 strategic regions of Congo, Zand, and Southern Africa, and we did nothing outside of that. We can see we have no native interests anywhere else. Could have gone for treaty ports or whatever, I feel like, but that was kind of unnecessary since, we don't have any maxing on construction here. We still have like another half of our states we could have built construction sectors in, and we still have 2 subjects we could annex here, but that's not really necessary. I got some feedback that I should look at companies at the end of these runs, and I think that's probably a good idea. So you can see the tooling company was a pretty good thing. Got 2.5 million profits. Metal producers, not very good. Only ended up with 500,000 profits. Home goods, kind of okay, 600,000 profits. Motors, insane, 6.3 million profits. And then Lorenzo Marks Premium Forestries with 500,000 profits. That's crazy that Motors got 6 million profits. It's the #1 company in the world by far. Obviously, it wouldn't be quite that high if we hadn't spiked automobile prices at the end. Actually, we can take a look at what its profit was before that. It was probably just barely the #1 profit company in the world. And then I guess we can also look at culture and see Bengali took over Botswana. I think this was Punjabi for a little bit, but I guess that is no longer the case. Looks like most of our country has turned Boer, except for Eastern Cape, which is English. And yeah, Natal is also Boer. And then, of course, outside of our core land, we've got some random cultures here. French and Lorenzo Marx is kind of surprising. Korean and Kazembe has been there for a while. And then other than that, it looks like it's mostly just the native cultures of Africa to that area. So yeah, anyways, that's where I'm ending off the video. Goodbye!